Jays on Sportsnet. Presented by the all-new Honda Civic, now available with Turbo, the 2016 North American Car of the Year.
Just a gorgeous night here in the Toronto area. The roof is wide open here at Rogers Center for the second game of this three-game series between the Jays and the New York Yankees. The Jays a game over 500, third place in the American League East, 5 back. The Yankees in fourth, 6.5 back. Here's a look at the starting lineup for the Yankees tonight. Jacoby Ellsbury's been hot in May, and he has done well against the Blue Jays so far this year. No Brett Gardner, struggling and a lefty on the mound. No Alex Rodriguez for the Yankees tonight, but Carlos Beltran is in the lineup as DHing, and he's got some very strong numbers against Jay Happ, who Tabby's got some very strong numbers against just about everybody this year.
Yes, he has. He has been a very hot pitcher. Jay gets ready for his 11th start of the season. Will be his second consecutive outing versus the Yankees. He's going to try and duplicate what Marco Estrada did last night, beating the Yankees twice in a 5-game span. Over his last 2 outings, he's given up just 6 hits. That's a 128 batting average, 4th lowest average over that span in the major leagues. For his career, he's 5-2 versus the New York Yankees.
Ready to go here at Rogers Center. C.B. Bucknor is the home plate umpire tonight. Field and Culbreth at first, Jim Reynolds at second, Scott Berry at third. Russell Martin doing the catching for Jay Happ tonight. Jacoby Ellsbury settles into the box, and we are underway. Ellsbury 280 overall on the season. A 333 hitter in May and an on-base percentage of .415 in May, and the Yankees need the offense. These are not the Bronx Bombers right now. A-Rod's just back off the DL and hasn't gotten it going yet. Never had a hit off Happ, so he's not on the lineup. Brett Gardner's really struggling. Probably wouldn't have played anyway tonight. Mark Teixeira's hitting under 200.
The guy who makes him go, though, is standing in the batter's box right here, Jacoby Ellsbury, and he's on a nice little hot streak like you were just saying, Dan. Getting on base, that's his numbers over the last 12 games. He doesn't really have an explanation for it. He says, I just try to put together good at-bats, make solid contact, and hopefully find a hole here and there.
Infield backed up and playing him slightly to pull. Outfielders playing him to the opposite field. The 1-2 from Happ, and he bounced it in well in front of the plate for ball 2.
When you look at the Yankees, and you mentioned it, Dan, how their averages are down. They're hitting .233 as a club. They don't have much power. On base, .304, 14th in the league. They're last in slugging, last in OPS, and this is not the type of Yankee team we've seen in the past.
They're the worst in the major leagues in terms of batting average with runners in scoring position, hitting just .212 as a team. No team has hit that poorly with runners in scoring position since the 1981 New York Mets. Yankees have some time to turn it around, obviously. Fouled back by Ellsbury.
You know, to put that into context, that .212 batting average, the major league average is .257. People hitting with runners in scoring position, so they're 40-something points below the major league average. And that is a shock also, because this is a team stocked with veteran hitters.
3-2 again, and chopped foul as Ellsbury extends the at bat. 7 pitches and counting, number 8 on the way.
Well, Joe Girardi's really been kind of confused by it. He's talking with his hitting coach Alan Cockrell, who's taken over as the main hitting coach this season. His assistant is Marcus Timms, both in those positions for the first time.
Swing and a miss, and Ellsbury strikes out.
Let's take a look at the defense for the Blue Jays, and with the lefties on the mound, both managers have put a better defender in left field. Carrera's in left tonight with Happ in the rotation, then Pilar and Bautista. Donaldson and Barney back in short. Devin Travis back at second base. Justin Smoke and Russell Martin round out the defense.
And Happ starts Rob Refsnyder with a strike. Ezekiel Carrera, most of the time he plays is against a lefty, and he's a left-handed batter, but he's 10 for 19 this year against lefties.
No, actually, he and Saunders both have hit well against lefties, and Michael has 5 home runs against lefties, but Carrera is the better defender out there.
Jay Happ is a extreme fly ball type of pitcher at times.
1 ball, 2 strikes on Refsnyder, who's really an infielder. The Yankees are thin, though, right now. A-Rod 0 for 14 career against Happ, so he's out. So Beltran moves to DH.
And this is why Refsnyder is in right field with the left-hander CC Sabathia starting. They put Aaron Hicks in left field, who's a much better outfielder. In fact, a center fielder.
Sabathia pitching well lately. Blue Jays saw that last week in New York.
Are you surprised A-Rod's not in the lineup? I am. Only because Aaron Sanchez is throwing tomorrow. So does he not play against Sanchez tomorrow also?
Well, he's struggling. He's only had 1 hit since coming off the DL, and he's 0 for 14 against Happ.
So he's due, right?
Refsnyder lines the ball up the alley in left center, and it's going to skip over the wall on a bounce for a ground rule double.
Well, another problem that the Yankees have had is hitting with 2 strikes, but Refsnyder had no problem that time. J. Happ makes a mistake this time with a 4-seam fastball right down Broadway, and he takes it into the alley into left center field. Happ has been hitting his spots. He barely made any mistakes in that last start against the Yankees 5 days ago. That time a 2-strike mistake.
So here's Mark Teixeira now, switch hitter batting for the right side against the left-hander Happ. Teixeira hitting just .195 with 3 home runs. He's been bothered by a neck issue that cost him 5 days. Returned last night, and he was asked about just his overall season yesterday, and he said, hey, I got to do better. The team needs more from me than they're getting. He was terrific last year into late August before he got hurt. He was actually kind of on the fringe of the MVP conversation a year ago before an injury shut him down for the rest of the season.
Last 6 weeks with a fracture in his leg. Yes, he was in the MVP talk last year before the injury.
Fly ball to right field. Bautista still going back, runs it down, edge of the track. Refsnyder back to the bag at second to tag, and easily into third now with 2 down. So now Beltran. You just never know with older players. You know, A-Rod was really good last year, 33 home runs. Nowhere near that kind of production this year. Teixeira nowhere near the kind of production he had last year. But then this guy Beltran, still a very productive player.
Still raking 12 home runs with this team. They took 65 home runs last year out of this lineup with A-Rod and Teixeira having some problems. And Joe Girardi was talking about after the game yesterday. Said we need those 2 guys to start hitting once again.
Beltran has hit much better this year when he's been the DH than when he's been in right field. They're also a better, generally speaking, a better defensive team when he's the DH, not in the outfield. If they've got, say, Gardner in left and Hicks in right, and that kind of a configuration. But his numbers are really big when he's the designated hitter. Some people say, well, coincidence. Some people say maybe not a coincidence.
No, it's not a coincidence. You get him off his feet. He's older. He's had knee problems in the past. Joe Girardi knows it, and he's going to try to keep him in that DH spot as often as he can.
I think that's one of the problems that the Yankees had this year offensively, is they've got too many guys who are basically DHs.
Yes. A-Rod may have to really do well to get back in there on an everyday basis. They can put Beltran back in right if A-Rod's hitting, but if A-Rod's not hitting, they'd prefer to have Beltran a DH.
As the DH, and then A-Rod off the bench.
The 2-1. Bounced foul, 2 balls, 2 strikes as Happ tries to strand a base runner to third here in the very first inning. The Yankees sitting at 24-26 in a stretch of playing 40 games in 41 days. Also not an easy thing for a team with a fair number of older players. The 2-2. Check swing by Beltran, and the count is full. A lot of pitches being thrown by Happ here in the first inning. Three full counts to the 4 hitters that he's faced, and 22 pitches already thrown in the inning, but can get out of it without any damage being done if he can get Beltran.
He gave up a run in the first inning, didn't he, in his start against the Yankees?
Castro hit a home run to the opposite field.
And then after that, 2 scratch hits the rest of the game for half. So it took him an inning, excuse me, Dan, to get on track the last time out.
Another foul off. And CC Sabathia was just about as good. In fact, both of the Blue Jays runs scored as a result of an error by Didi Gregorius. Edwin Encarnacion drove them in with a base hit, but both runs were unearned. CC has been terrific his last few times out. The battle continues between Happ and Beltran. Again the 3-2. And it's outside, ball 4.
Super Slow-Mo Cam. Brought to you by Rogers 4K TV. Get closer to the action with 4 times the resolution of HD alone.
So the Yankees now with the runners at first and third with 2 down here in the top of the first at Rogers Center, where the batter will be Starlin Castro, the second baseman. And up to a very hot start. His average has come down now some, settled in at an even 250 into this game tonight. 7 home runs and 21 driven in. Swing and a miss, 0-1.
The home run that Castro hit was to right center. It was a pitch away. So watch how Happ's going to go after Castro, more than likely trying to crowd him and keep him from extending his arms out over the plate.
First pitch was an indication of that. A little cutter on the inside part of the plate.
A little bit high, 1 ball and 1 strike. I asked Russell Martin about, do you have to make a big adjustment when you start for the second time in 5 days against the same team? And he said, well, it depends on what they did last time. Each hitter's a different situation. You also react to what happens pitch by pitch in this game. One and a ground ball to short, and that will end the inning. Happ has to throw a lot of pitches, but doesn't give up any runs. The Blue Jays coming up against CC Sabathia when we come back. Bottom of the first here at Rogers Center. No score between the Yankees and the Blue Jays. Let's take a look at the lineup that John Gibbons has put on the field here tonight. Bautista, Donaldson, Encarnacion, again the top 3. Smoke hitting cleanup. Russell Martin starting to heat up, hitting over 300 over his last 6 games, including 3 home runs. And Devin Travis, this goes back to last year, a 9-game hitting streak. John Gibbons said before the game, doesn't feel he's quite locked in yet, doesn't feel the timing is quite there yet, but obviously they know how gifted an offensive player he is. CC Sabathia on the mound for the Yankees tonight.
8th start of the season tonight for CC Sabathia. He's now 35 years old. Seems like he's been pitching forever. He's still just 35 years old. He missed 15 games earlier this year with a DL stint. He had a left groin strain at the beginning of May. Last time out, 2 unearned runs against the Blue Jays in 7 innings. That was his longest start of the season. It matched his longest start of the season.
Jose Bautista will lead it off for the Blue Jays. Has been there since the opening game of the Minnesota series. Has continued to get on base. Leads the American League with 40 walks. The Blue Jay offense as a whole has been better over that stretch. Not great, but better than it was before.
You know what Jose is doing right now? He is on top of that plate and not giving that pitcher any spot to throw the baseball. Even if you throw the ball on the outside part of the plate, he's close enough to the plate that he can reach out there and yank the ball to left field. I think that is Jose's strength.
High fly ball, left center field, but playable for Ellsbury on the warning track.
Well, we mentioned both of these left-handed pitchers had a great start last time they faced each other on Thursday. And you see Aaron Hicks in left. This is his 9th start in left. And he's basically a center fielder, but they got him in left with Sabathia on the mound. Ellsbury and Refsnyder in right. Headley, Gregorius, Castro, and Teixeira around the infield. And the pitcher, Austin Romine, who's had a good run with the bat against the Blue Jays lately. Aaron Hicks, we mentioned he is a center fielder by trade. And he's in right field last night. He's in left field tonight because of the left-hander CC Sabathia.
Great arm for Hicks. Josh Donaldson steps in for the Blue Jays and looks at a strike, hitting .256, 13 home runs on the season, hitting .340 against lefties this year. Donaldson facing a guy in Sabathia who's first or second a lot of major categories among active pitchers. CC's been around a long time, 35 years of age now. There's a curveball in for a strike. Sabathia is the active major league leader in strikeouts with 2,610. He's tied with Chuck Finley for 23rd all time. He's the active leader in complete games, and he's second to Bartolo Colon in wins and innings. Check swing by Donaldson. On the appeal, he didn't go. He obviously doesn't have the velocity, doesn't quite have the stuff that he used to have, but it looks like Tabby's starting to figure out how to pitch with different stuff.
Yeah, I asked Brooke Jacoby today, the hitting coach of the Blue Jays, what was he doing that was so effective to your hitters the last time out? He said he was moving that fastball around the strike zone inside and outside. He was backdooring his curveball. There it is right there against the right-handed batter. So when he first came up, everything was power. Power fastball, power breaking ball. Now CC is starting to pitch. Use the changeup. Backdoor the breaking ball when you have to. This is his 2016 by month. In April, it wasn't working out for him, but now it seems like he is starting to round into form. Look at the opponent's batting average for CC Sabathia, just 157 in the month of May.
So with that strikeout, Sabathia now moves into sole possession of 23rd place on the strikeout list. Number 22 is in the ballpark tonight. He's 57 strikeouts behind a guy who popped into the booth about half an hour ago, David Cone. He's 22nd on the all-time strikeout list, so Sabathia may catch him later in the season. Cone, a part of the Yankees broadcast crew. Here's Edwin Encarnacion, third in the American League with 40 runs driven in, including a big 2-run single off Sabathia Thursday at Yankee Stadium.
Yeah, Edwin has not really hit full stride just yet this season, but he's picking up RBIs, and that's what his job is. He had that big hit against Sabathia after the error by Gregorius allowed the base runner to reach, and then a base hit, and finally the 2-run single by Encarnacion.
Down and in, and a swing and a miss, 1-2.
You know, you talk about RBIs and you talk about him not hitting his stride yet. He's not hitting with runners in scoring position yet. Not like we have seen Edwin in the past. He has always been a great RBI guy because he is hit with runners in scoring position. This year, not so much.
And a swing and a miss at a good breaking ball. 2 strikeouts in the inning for Sabathia. An impressive beginning for him. No score at the end of 1.
Rogers Center. About a half hour ago, the Blue Jays announced the acquisition of veteran reliever Jason Grilli from the Atlanta Braves in exchange for minor leaguer Sean Ratcliffe. Now, the 39-year-old Grilli has had a rough start to this season, but he is just 1 year removed from nailing down 24 saves with a sub-3 ERA before his season was cut short by an Achilles injury. Now, last year, in a post on the Players Tribune website, Grilli said his favorite sports team growing up was the Toronto Blue Jays. It turns out the native of Missouri, who went to school in New York, is the son of pitcher Steve Grilli, who made one appearance, Dan, for the Blue Jays back in 1979.
That he did. Second father-son combo that we're aware of, along with the Mayberries, to have played, or eventually, once Jason Grilli gets here, to have played for the Blue Jays. This is a guy, 39 years of age, has been a closer, has been everything, certainly not going to be afraid, and you'd figure gets a pretty good crack at that 8th inning job.
Yeah, he sure will, and obviously he's not the pitcher he once was in his heyday, but you know, the Blue Jays are looking for anybody to grab a hold of that job, and he's going to get an opportunity to pitch in this ball game. I talked with Chip Carey, the announcer of the Atlanta Braves, later before the game, and he said he's had 5 scoreless appearances lately. He's throwing the ball a little bit better. And by Chip's assessment, he came back a little too quickly from his Achilles injury from last year. And he got off to a great start last year. But then again, he's still 39. He's not going to pitch like he was 29, that's for sure.
This ball is going to drop in deep left center field off the bat of Chase Headley. And he will get to second base ahead of the throw with a leadoff stand-up double here in the 2nd inning.
As Headley stands at second base with that double, one other thing about that, you know, Buck, he doesn't have to throw 2 or 3 innings. They're only looking for 1 inning a night. Last point about Jason Grilli. The inning is important, I think, whatever it is, 7th or 8th inning. I think the veteran presence down in that bullpen is going to really help out a lot of those young kids down there.
The pitcher who goes the other way, Sean Ratcliffe, 21 years of age, born in Ajax, Ontario, a graduate of Pickering High School, an 18th round selection by the Blue Jays in 2013. One other fact on Grilli that I'll throw over to you, Mr. Martinez, is you knew him when he was a little wee guy, right? A little kid.
Yeah, in Puerto Rico. Steve and I were playing together in winter ball in Mayaguez, Puerto Rico, and my son Casey and Jason were toddlers together. So yeah, I've known that young man for a long time. And you know, you're right about the veteran experience. And if you think back to last year when they got LaTroy Hawkins, it wasn't so much how he pitched, it was how he handled that bullpen, and it really helped him down the stretch. And Roberto Osuna told me that was missing so far this year.
Chopper to the right side. Nice play by Travis. Throw not in time. And the Yankees have runners at first and third with nobody out. And DeMarlo Hale on the phone to see if this one is worth looking at.
Well, this is one of those top balls that has extra spin, and when it hit that dirt, it took off on Devin, and he was able to glove it, but Romine really busted it out of the box. This is a good at bat. He hits that bouncing ball, and that top spin makes a high bounce. Travis is able to glove it, but the throw is late at first.
Trying to move that runner, so he's going to right field anyway. And we had this discussion the other day. Romine could really run for a catcher as he beats that out, and clearly he's safe on that ground ball to the right side.
He's also their backup first baseman right now, playing some first base. Dustin Ackley suffered a shoulder injury recently, is out for the season. So Romine, who has hardly played any first base, is the closest thing they have to a backup for Mark Teixeira. An opportunity here for the Yankees. The batter is Didi Gregorius, the shortstop, hitting .261. Shows bunt, and he takes ball 1.
Raised that question to Russell Martin about, do you change things when you see a team within 5 days? And so far the Yankees have as many hits in an inning plus as they had in the entire 7 innings Jay Happ pitched last time. So you might have to change your approach a little bit.
He tried to bunt it, didn't get the bat out of the way in time, and it's a ball and a strike on to Gregorius. That got Donaldson's attention at third. As they look down to third, and their coach Joe Espada relaying the signs from Joe Girardi. We'll see if the Yankees keep a play on or just play it straight up. And that ball hit him. Or did he swing? Yes, he did. The appeal down to third, he swung. So the swing overrides the fact that he was hit by a pitch, and he'll have to come back to the plate with a count of 1-2.
Scott Berry down at third base called it immediately when C.B. Buckner asked for the appeal to the third base umpire. And he did. Ball happened to hit him. We had a similar situation with David Ortiz in the Boston series. Ortiz swung, struck out, and the ball hit him. And it was the third strike of the at-bat, so he was out.
Happened to Brett Lawrie yesterday as well. The exact same thing.
Against the Dark Knight.
Yep.
One more time, ball on the inner half.
Gee.
And it hits him. The swing takes precedence over the hit batter. So Gregorius is going to have to grab a bat and hit again.
Well, if you're going to get hit, you at least want to get a base out of it, huh? Shake off the pain down at first base instead of having to step back into the box. A hot hitter recently to get the average back up to 261. Second year with the Yankees. 1-2. Down and away.
Well, you mentioned the Yankees. They haven't been very good batting with runners in scoring position, so I wouldn't be surprised they start runners. They're going to do everything they can to score some runs. Blue Jays starters have really done a good job of shutting down the Yankee hitters.
It's kind of un-Yankee-like to do that sort of thing. Everybody knows the Blue Jays were the best offensive team in baseball last year. The Yankees were second in terms of runs scored. Fly ball into shallow right center field. Pilar coming in makes the catch, and Headley's not going anywhere.
You are not going to run on a shallow fly ball like that with nobody out, first and third, especially against a guy who can throw like Kevin Pilar. He's already got 5 outfield assists this year. And the impressive part about his outfield play is his outfield throwing. He is so accurate with that arm.
He never takes a play off. Whether there's a play or not, he executes fundamentally sound as any outfielder in the American League.
So now the number 9 hitter, left fielder Aaron Hicks, a switch hitter batting right-handed, hitting a .198 on the season and just 152 from the right side. Blue Jays looking to turn 2, although Hicks does have pretty good speed. Ground ball to second. Can they turn it? There's one, and not in time. Another bang-bang play at first goes the Yankees' way, and the run scores.
Well, I'm sure they're going to take a look at this one also to see if Hicks beat that throw. That looked like a tailor-made double play right there. But Hicks just runs so well. Ball came up just a little bit on Travis, gives Barney a good feed. From that angle, it looked like he was safe. One more time, the extra quick step, you can see hit the front part of that bag, and he's safe. That's going to be an RBI.
11th of the season for Hicks, and the Yankees have taken a 1-0 lead. Hicks at first, 2 down, and back to the top of the order for Ellsbury, who struck out in the first inning. Just outside, ball 1.
This run really reflects how the Yankees have had trouble scoring. And get a leadoff double, a ground ball on the infield, a fly ball, and then a fielder's choice. That's a Yankee rally this year.
Couldn't say that last year.
Nope.
Like Dan said, they were an awesome offensive team last year. Now, because they have been struggling to score runs, wouldn't shock me to see Aaron Hicks try and steal a base here. You mentioned he's got some speed. He's only 0 for 1 this year in stolen bases. He gets thrown out. Jacoby Ellsbury leads off next inning. But you got to try anything to try and shake up your offense.
Romine telling people how a catcher got an infield hit. All excited back in the dugout. 2 balls, no strikes on Ellsbury. Hicks being held on by Smoke. Not going. And a swing and a ball popped up into foul territory. Smoke and Travis both in the vicinity. Travis will make the catch right up against the seats. But a run in for the Yankees. A 1-0 lead going to the bottom of the second.
Show us your Blue Jays spirit. Enter the TD Comfort Zone contest by posting a video or photo of you, tagging @BlueJays and including hashtag TD Tuesday on Twitter or Instagram for a chance to win. For full contest rules and details, visit BlueJays.com/Comfort Zone. Dan.
Hazel, thank you. We go to the bottom of the second. A 1-0 lead for the Yankees. Justin Smoke, Russell Martin, and Devin Travis will be the hitters for the Blue Jays here in the second inning. Smoke batting for the right side, hitting .273, 4 home runs on the season. CC Sabathia looked awfully good in the first. Bautista hit a deep fly ball for the first out, but then he struck out Donaldson and Encarnacion. The way the Yankees are built right now, it all starts with that three-man monster they've got at the end of the bullpen. Betances, Miller, Chapman. It's basically a 6-inning game when you play the Yankees. If they've got the lead, good luck getting it from them. But between the struggling offense and the hot and cold starting pitching they've had, depending on who's starting that night, they're not having the lead after 6 innings as much as they would like.
Yankees do a lot of statistical analysis, and one of the analysis is the pitchers going 3 times through the lineup is very difficult. So the starters aren't asked to do a whole lot for the Yankees. Just get to that 6th inning and then turn it over to the bullpen, hopefully with the lead.
I think anytime you make black and white decisions based on numbers, you're asking for trouble. You could have a pitcher go out there like Marco Estrada, just mowing down the Yankees last night, and you say, well, he's going to face them a 3rd time. We can't let that happen. I don't buy it. It doesn't work. They're humans. They're going to have good nights. They're going to have bad nights. And hitters aren't going to react to their pitches on particular nights. You have to just let your eyes tell you what's going on.
Tell me what you see, not what you've read. Right?
And Joe Girardi, he's an old catcher. He's got a great pitching coach sitting next to him, Larry Rothschild. But they're under a lot of pressure.
Well, this debate goes on in every organization in baseball. And in some organizations, the analytics win out, and some maybe the old school style wins out. Fly ball into shallow right center field, and Refsnyder was there 1 down.
Buck Showalter has a great answer for that. He says, I'll buy any statistics you can show me if you can prove it's going to help the Orioles win the game.
Well, the analytics can prove that over the long run, the numbers suggest that it will help them win the game. But in that moment, you never know.
I'm an analytical guy. I think there is definitely a place for it in the game of baseball. Definitely. But analytics tell you where you've come from. They're not going to tell you where you're going to go. Right. I think your eyes will tell you and give you a pretty good idea of where you're going to be going.
Russell Martin steps in, hitting .194, 3 home runs on the season. We mentioned a little bit earlier. All of them have come in his last 6 games. Bounced into by Sabathia, ball 2.
I think Russell is ready to take off myself. You just see his at-bats. He's a little bit more compact with his swing. You don't see him pulling off the ball a lot. The thing that he's really working on is trying to stay behind the baseball as long as possible, and that'll help him see the ball longer.
He's familiar with Sabathia. Caught him for a couple of years as a Yankee in his 2 years with New York back in 2011 and 2012.
He's only had 15 at-bats against him, and you know that information can help you, but sometimes it can overwhelm your mind. You're thinking, I know what he's going to do here. Start thinking a little too much.
3-0 green light and a base hit into left field. Let's get an update now from Jamie Campbell.
Second baseman number 29,
Well, the Red Sox continue to put up ridiculous offensive numbers. They are just shy of 6 runs per game this year. Over 5.9 runs per game. And one night it'll be Betts, then it's Bogarts, then it's Bradley, then it's Ortiz. You know, it takes you a while to even get to guys like Hanley Ramirez and Dustin Pedroia.
Is having a pretty good year.
Betts and Pedroia went back-to-back to start this game tonight. Mookie Betts has 2 home runs, as Jamie mentioned, but yeah, it's a very good attack. And for perspective's point of view, Blue Jays scored 5.5 runs last year.
Right.
So they're on a better pace than the Blue Jays a year ago.
Kind of crazy when you think of it in those terms. Devin Travis is the batter. Tabby, what have you seen from Travis in his first few games?
I see he's just a little bit off with his hitting in terms of his timing. They had to go down and bring him back up before his rehab was finished. Basically, he was in spring training when he was down in the minor leagues trying to get his timing back. Since they've called him up after Tula went on the disabled list, his timing is off just a little bit.
Ground ball to short, shovel to second, one on to first, double play to end the inning. So the Blue Jays are gone in the second. It remains the Yankees 1 and the Blue Jays nothing.
More Stanley Cup final action tomorrow. Game 2, Joe Thornton and the Sharks take on Sidney Crosby and the Penguins. Pittsburgh took game 1, but can the Sharks even things up? That's at 8 o'clock Eastern, 5 o'clock Pacific on CBC. Not sure if that gentleman's a hockey fan, but he sure is a Pat Tabler fan. They're everywhere, Dan.
You got family here tonight, Tabby?
I did not realize I left a ticket for anybody. No, I did not. Thank you very much.
That's cool.
Now, where did they get that?
J-Shop.
No, they burned those things long ago.
Top of the third, the Yankees up 1-0. Dan Shulman, Buck Martinez, Pat Tabler. This is Rob Refsnyder. Doubled and got as far as third in the first inning when the Yankees stranded a couple. They did cash in a run in the second off Jay Happ, who's had some deep counts. That was already his 44th pitch. Sharply hit, backhanded by Barney at short and on the money with the throw. So with the lefty on the mound for the Yankees, Sabathia, the lineup has Barney at short and Travis at second. And John Gibbons says the same thing almost every day. He says they're going to ride Darwin Barney as long as he's riding this hot streak with the bat.
And Darwin's been swinging a very hot bat, playing some great defense in the middle of the infield for the Blue Jays. And that's what Gibby does. He's just finding guys who are hot while Tulowitzki's on the disabled list. He's going to ride them.
Managers are funny like that, aren't they? Somebody plays well and the manager's concerned about wins.
You get to play again.
You get to play again.
Well, the managers will say sometimes in jest but half seriously, I don't make out the lineup, the players make out the lineup.
Yeah, and actually the only guy that really is concerned about the one-loss record is the manager.
And he's really concerned about
Very concerned about it.
2-0 to Mark Teixeira. Shot foul.
You know, it makes it tough, though. Ryan Goins has a great game yesterday. And because a lefty is on the mound tonight, can't get back in the lineup.
Yeah, but that's okay. I mean, you start creating this competition. Everybody gets better when there's good players around you.
Popped up in foul territory. Martin racing over near the Yankee dugout makes the catch.
The all-new Honda Civic, now available with Turbo, the 2016 North American Car of the Year.
Well, just another gorgeous day here in Toronto. Temperature up in the mid to high 20s during the day. 22 degrees at a game time tonight. Roof wide open here at Rogers Center, and the Yankees with a 1-0 lead, batting in the top of the third. Carlos Beltran is the hitter. Beltran came in with 3 career home runs off Happ in 30 at bats, 9 for 30, a 300 hitter lifetime against him. Over the mound, Travis behind the bag, sets his feet, fires, big stretch by Smoke, and the inning is over. A quicker inning for Happ. He needs only 8 pitches to get the Yankees in order in the third.
To catch a ball game, why not book a WestJet Plus fare? It's more than a seat, it's a premium experience for a smart price.
To the bottom of the third, the Blue Jays coming up trailing 1-0. It'll be the bottom third of the lineup. Kevin Pillar, Darwin Barney, and Ezekiel Carrera for the Blue Jays against CC Sabathia. Sabathia gave up a 1-out base hit to Russell Martin in the second, but that was immediately erased on a double play ball off the bat of Devin Travis. So Sabathia has faced the minimum through 2. Pillar comes in hitting .244 with a couple of home runs. They're even with the bags on the corners, backed up the middle. as Pilar takes ball one. The way the lineup is now, both Pilar and Travis hitting down in the lineup. Pilar could be 9, 8, 7. Travis could be 8, 7, 6, depending on who else is in there. Bautista still leading off. You get the feeling John Gibbons is hoping Travis catches fire and that he can put him back up at the top of the line.
He said that today in his scrum with the media, that he said Devin's timing is just off a little bit. He doesn't want to put that added pressure on him, but he says once he gets that timing, and Devin can hit, he can flat out hit. Once he starts to see with his eyes that the bat is coming through the strike zone the way it should, he's going to be the leadoff hitter, and they're going to drop Jose back down. I thought that was one of the strengths for the Blue Jays last year. Their 7, 8, 9 hitter last season really turned that lineup over and gave a lot of RBI opportunities for Donaldson, Bautista, and Encarnacion.
I'm not so sure Devin is ready to hit leadoff. I think he needs to hit down in the order. Just leave him down there all season long. Let him hit. Let him gain his confidence the same as he had it last April. He didn't fare well in the leadoff spot last year, but some of that had to do with his shoulder, of course.
Pilar draws a leadoff walk. Well, will the Blue Jays challenge the combination of CC Sabathia and Austin Romine here? Pilar's got 4 steals on the season.
I think more than anything, they can play hit and run. They've done that a few times over the last several games. Pilar's been a batter when they have started the runner. Sabathia, if he takes his time to get the ball to the catcher.
The Blue Jays have just 16 steals as a team on the season. That is 25th in baseball. They do have a good percentage. They've only been caught 6 times, but they are not running much at all.
They talked about that's not the type of team that they are. They don't have a lot of blazers in this lineup that they really count on their hitters sitting back and teeing off on that pitcher that day.
Want to know the count on Darwin Barney.
Tough to manufacture runs.
Well, now after a walk and with a 2-0 count, you'd think it's highly unlikely they're going to run in this situation. Make Sabathia throw a strike, see if Barney can do something with it. He's hitting .321 on the season, hitting over .400 here at home so far this year. Ball 3. Russell Martin had a 3-0 green light in the second, but you wouldn't think that Barney would have one here, would you?
No, not right here. You got Carrera up next, who could really bunt, and they could bunt if Barney gets out. I don't give him the green light in this situation. CC struggling to find the strike zone right now.
That's what you do as a manager. You start thinking 1 batter ahead, 2 batters ahead, 3 batter ahead. Start thinking, okay, if he walks him here, I can bunt Carrera. They'll walk Bautista. Now I've got Josh Donaldson up with the bases loaded. You can't just think about this at bat or this pitch. You got to keep thinking 2 or 3 batters ahead of yourself.
Now with a full count, do they start the runner?
I would, especially with the left-hander on next. Go ahead and start the runner. Barney makes contact, put the infield in motion. You might find a hole for Darwin.
There he goes. Chop to the left side. Headley ranging to his left, throws out Barney. Pilar to second.
And Darwin just makes too much contact. So you can start Pilar. There's a great base runner. Barney hits it to third, which probably would have been a double play, but by starting the runner now, you got a runner in scoring position.
CC Sabathia did a good job of slide stepping right there, really making it hard for the Blue Jays to get a jump over there at first base. Now he's got to deal with Carrera with the runner in scoring position.
And what a job Ezekiel Carrera has done when given the opportunities. Obviously, this is not a huge sample size, these are the bats, but hitting .382. We mentioned hitting great against lefties, 10 for 19 against lefties this year. He can run. He comes in as a defensive replacement. He's really doing his job.
He's not giving in to the left-handed pitchers. He's staying right on that ball. And if he has to hit the ball to left field against the lefties, he's taking what the pitchers have given him.
They're in on the corners in case he tries to drop one down for a base hit.
Carrera has 2 bunt base hits this season in very limited at-bats, as you mentioned. But here's where Luis Rivera, the third base coach, has to evaluate the situation. Bautista's on deck. If there is a base hit to left field and Hicks doesn't have to run laterally, you probably stop Pilar.
Broken bat, fly ball to right field. And the catch made by Refsnyder for the second out. A good chunk of that bat is out beyond first base. And in fact, Carrera, as he rounded the bag, picks it up and he's going to jog it back to the dugout himself.
That bat split the entire length of the bat and just split right down the middle.
Little cutter
fastball.
That's what a cutter's supposed to do right there. Get it off the middle of the bat, and all that's left in it. Look at it. That's going to make a nice fungo right there, I think, for Carrera.
So now the Blue Jays looking for a 2-out base hit in an attempt to bring in Pilar and tie the game. Jose Bautista hit one about 385 feet to the warning track in deep left center. But Ellsbury tracked it down there. First pitch swinging, and he fouls it off out of play.
I think against CC Sabathia, the way he pitched against him last time and the way he's starting off here tonight, you have to pick a side of the plate. Make up your mind, I'm going to stay on the pitches outside or I'm going to stay on the inner half, but you can't cover both sides of the plate effectively.
You can't be chasing balls all around the strike zone. He was very effective throwing into righties, backdooring righties.
So if you're picking a half of the plate, do you pick the half you like the best or the half where you think he's going to throw it the best?
That's a great question.
I go to my strength.
You go to your strength? Yeah.
My strength away. You know, Bautista's strength is in.
Is in. That's right. Everybody has different plate coverages, and oftentimes you're trying to cover the pitcher's strength, which is a real mistake.
Go to your strength until you get to 2 strikes, where Jose is right now.
0-2. Breaking ball popped up. Teixeira racing out. Long run for him, and it drops just foul. A foot or 2 away from a double and an RBI for Bautista.
There you go. That's what happens when you shift around. Second baseman, that's his ball right there. But when you're in the shift and you got your second baseman playing behind the bag at second base, no chance for him to catch it. No chance for the right fielder because he is deep and into the gap in right center.
So back to the plate goes Bautista. Sabathia checking the runner Pilar. And again the 0-2, and he misses outside with a changeup, ball 1.
See, now Sabathia is pitching to his strength, which is away, trying to avoid Bautista's strength, which is the inner half.
He got away with a mistake last time. Looked like Jose had a pitch to knock out of here, and he just missed it.
Be careful.
Trying to
come
2.
inside, flirting with danger in there, and you can see Sabathia wasn't really committed to that pitch. He kind of tried to guide it in there. That's when you're asking for trouble.
That's when you make mistakes. That might have been a purpose, just to try and push Jose off the plate. See if he'll backdoor pitches now.
Two-2. And Bautista gets a piece to stay alive.
Looked like the follow through from Jose might have popped Romine on the glove.
Yeah, that'll happen when a hitter reaches for it and it's a breaking ball and the catcher has to reach out to try to catch it. Well, watch how he comes all the way around and that bat's going to drop on his catching hand, halfway exposed out of his mitt.
Again the 2-2, and a swing and a ground ball to short. Gregorius up with it, and the inning is over. Blue Jays leave another man on. 1-0 Yankees at the end of 3. Here comes the ultimate cleanup crew, brought to you by Home Hardware's exclusive line of the ultimate hard-hitting and tough on grime cleaning products. Had success against the Yankees this year. They have held some of their most important hitters in check, to say the least, on the season. Two of them, Brett Gardner, Alex Rodriguez, not even in the lineup tonight. Starlin Castro is. But these three, a combined 1 for 61 against Blue Jay pitching this year.
Brett Gardner, before this season, was a career .306 hitter against the Blue Jays, and they have kept him to an 0 for 23.
How about Alex Rodriguez? Everybody knows about the great numbers that A-Rod has put up against the Blue Jays, especially in this ballpark. And they have held him in check.
You know, I think it's just testimony to how well the Blue Jays starters have been pitching. When you think about Mookie Betts, too, they really shut Mookie Betts down in the Red Sox, and last year he had 28 hits for the season against the Blue Jays.
And he leaves here, goes down to Baltimore.
Gets hot.
He's a wrecking crew down against the O's at Camden.
2-0 the count on Castro. He'll be followed by Headley and Romine. Castro bouncing into a fielder's choice his first time up. Jay Happ's given up 3 hits, 1 run, 1 walk through 3 innings. He has had an outstanding year, an ERA just over 3 coming in. This is his 11th start. He's held the opposition to a .239 batting average on the season, which is really impressive until you look at Marco Estrada's numbers, because Marco Estrada's opponent's batting average is off the charts.
Best in the American League. Never seen him better than last night.
No. He is really throwing the ball well and pitching with a lot of confidence. Same for Jay Happ. Jay just had that one clunker.
Well hit to deep right center. Pilar racing back to the warning track, makes the catch.
Same type of swing, same type of fly ball that Castro had in New York, but here in Toronto, you got Kevin Pilar covering the ground. If it stays in the ballpark, there's a good chance that Pilar is going to catch it.
Back to Estrada for a moment. His opponent's batting average this year is 177. He's holding the league to a 177 batting average on the season. Where would the Blue Jays be if they hadn't re-signed Marco Estrada and signed Jay Happ in the offseason?
Yeah, and both signings really drew little acknowledgement from the fans. They went, oh, yeah, okay. What about David Price? Well, you know what? They're both outpitching David Price for half the money.
For half the money. Their combined salaries are less than what David Price is making.
Price is 7-1, getting some great run support, but the ERA is over 5. And to be fair, his last 4 starts have been much better. He's figuring it out. He's still David Price. He got off to a really rough start, had 3 or 4 ugly ones, including one really ugly one against Tampa Bay, but he's starting to come around now.
We don't have to be fair.
You guys didn't tell me that.
No.
And a swing and a foul tip. Held by Martinez. Headley strikes out.
Well, you look at Jay Happ, and when they signed Jay Happ, everybody said, yeah, but we want David Price. Well, Jay Happ is really pitching, and you look at the salaries of both Estrada and Jay Happ. They are a bargain at those levels of salary.
What is that, $21.5 million instead of the $30 million you dole out for one guy? I've always been a guy that instead of spending big money for one guy, how about splitting it up and getting 2 very good players?
Pilar makes the catch, robbing Romine in right center field.
So many times you think, oh, well, that one's going to fall. Kevin Pilar never thinks that. This ball is slicing away from him. He stays with it. Tremendous concentration right in the webbing of his glove. 2 fine catches this inning.
Spectacular catch from Kevin Pillar. Let's take a look at this outstanding. Yes, he could be Superman. Now, Heather and Adrian Constant from Kitchener, Ontario sent us this photo of 6-month-old Hayden doing his best Kevin Pillar impersonation. I don't know about you, Dan, but it looks eerily similar, don't you think?
It really does. Maybe the next generation of Kevin Pillars.
You got it.
That was a phenomenal catch. The fact not only that he got to it, but the fact that he could keep it in his glove when he slammed into the turf.
How about all that turf? Do you see all the black rubberized stuff popping up in his face?
Reminds me of one he made last year in Baltimore in foul territory down left field line, where he had to cradle the ball in his glove up against his chest. And he knows that's right in the webbing of his glove, and he's going to re-grip it one more time. And what a terrific effort.
What an inning for Kevin Pillar. First of all, he takes a hit away from Castro, and then he takes a hit away from Romine. That just gives pitchers a lot of confidence to pound the strike zone when you play defense like that.
So the Blue Jays come up trailing 1-0 in the bottom of the fourth. Last year, as you guys well know, Pillar was a finalist for the Gold Glove in center field. Kevin Kiermaier of Tampa Bay, who's a phenomenal outfielder, won it. Kiermaier was struggling with the bat, and sometimes the more you struggle, the less you play. And now he's hurt, and he's out for, I believe, an extended period of time with a broken bone in his hand. And Kevin Pillar, he's going to be right there for the Gold Glove at the end of this season.
No question about it. The third finalist in that trio last year was Mike Trout of the Angels. Those three top center fielders, and
he's pretty good.
Jackie Bradley Jr. is going to get a lot of consideration this year because he's hitting so well.
There's a liner into right center, a base hit for Donaldson to open up the inning.
You got to watch Kevin Pillar day in and day out to really appreciate the way he plays the game. We are fortunate enough to do that every day. His effort, his positioning, the way he throws. It's a treat to watch him play this game.
You make a great point. I think the way he throws separates him from everybody else because he makes accurate throws on everything. Cutoff plays, balls to the second baseman,
moving
all
to
the
his
time.
left.
Yeah, he's always making accurate throws from center field.
Donaldson aboard to begin the bottom of the fourth, and the batter was Encarnacion, who struck out his first time up. Ground ball in the hole at short. Gregorius to second, one, and not in time at first. Encarnacion doesn't run well. The ball wasn't hit hard. It was a slow developing play, and evidently Encarnacion just safe, but the Yankees might be having a look at this one.
Oh, I think they will take a look at this one. Starlin Castro is playing second base every day, basically for the first time in his career. This is a play where you got to come across the bag instead of going behind the bag the way he did. You got to be able to get to that ball just a little bit quicker. So when your throw goes over to first base, you're a little bit quicker. But now that one looks like he might have got him.
They got him. I think they got him. You could see Sabathia with a naked eye thought Encarnacion was out, and the Yankees are going to have a look at it, and this one's probably going to be overturned.
That was all arm strength from Starlin Castro on that throw.
This replay review is powered by Samsung.
That one shouldn't take long, should it?
No, I think that's going to be overturned. And you look at the stretch by Teixeira, and it's a perfect ball to stretch on, right in line with Teixeira, and he's out there, and he's clearly out.
You know what else? That throw was low, so when he stretched, he was just stretching to the ball. He didn't have to take his arm back up high.
So that's the second double play the Blue Jays have hit into tonight. They are now 0 for 5 tonight with a man on base. And with 2 outs and nobody on, the batter will be Justin Smoak. Smoak with a fly ball to right field his first time up. A run on 3 hits for the Yankees, no runs on 2 hits for the Blue Jays as they bat here in the bottom of the fourth. drive to deep left center field. Ellsbury back, running out of room. It's a home run for Smoke to tie the game.
Justin Smoke was telling me the other day that when he first came up, he felt like he had to swing hard to hit home runs because that's what first basemen do. But he said he has learned that if I make a good path to the baseball, I'm big enough and I'm strong enough that I can knock the ball out of any part of the ballpark. It all goes back to the swing. It's not how hard you swing, it's just how well you swing. And that was a pretty good swing.
A lot of great hitters talk about don't try to hit it far, try to hit it hard. And when you do that, the ball will carry.
So the game is tied at 1, and the home run by Smoke is 5th of the season.
Another little cutter that was down and in, and you can see that swing. He didn't try to overpower that ball. He just catch it out in front.
His first home run of the season from the right side of the plate. Here's Russell Martin.
Austin Romines had a tough start to this ball game tonight. Bautista hit him with the bat. Now he gets hit with a foul ball.
He got a hit taken away from him by Kevin Pillar also, so he's not having any fun right now. Balanced at the plate. Watch how he loads up, but he doesn't overload on that back leg. Load up and then get the ball out in front. He's strong.
Just missed outside. That's a pretty good 0-2 pitch right there. Martin with a base hit on a 3-0 count his first time up. Bounced one between third and short into left field. And now a swing and a miss, and the inning is over. But a run for the Blue Jays on the home run by Smoke. Tied at 1 at the end of 4. Time now for a Blue Jays Central update. Here are Jamie Campbell and Greg Zahn in the Samsung broadcast studio.
Comfy green chairs in the TD Comfort Zone are guests of TD. While over in the Jays Care Community Clubhouse are folks from Right to Play. Hello, everybody. Enjoy tonight's ball game. Dan.
Thank you, Hazel. Well, they are so far. Beautiful night. A 1-1 tie at the end of 4. Justin Smoke just tied it with a home run. And the Yankees will send 8, 9, and 1. Gregorius, Hicks, and Ellsbury up against J. Happ here in the 5th inning. Gregorius with a fly ball to center his first time up. Second game of the 3-game series. The Blue Jays winning the opening game last night Tomorrow night, the series wraps up with a very good pitching matchup. Masahiro Tanaka for the Yankees and Aaron Sanchez for the Blue Jays. Then the Yankees have to go to Detroit for one game, a makeup game for a rainout on Thursday before continuing a road trip. Talking to Sanchez before the game today. He's so excited just to take the ball every 5 days. Hot shot down to first. Big hop up into the midsection of smoke, one down. He's so excited about the possibilities. He feels he's learning so much every 5 days. You know, is loving the process, and he's excited about where his own ceiling may be.
Nobody knows where that is.
Yeah.
Nobody really knows how long they're going to let him go this year, but he's a starter. If you go and you put together a starter, let's have a checkoff list. 6'3" or taller, check. Good arm, nice loose long arms, check. Athletic, check. Good stuff, check. Now all he needs is experience.
Yep.
And I think you've got a budding ace.
I think what happens in baseball, and it's industry wide, is they don't allow these young pitchers to learn how to pitch until they get to the big leagues. And that's why he's so excited about taking the ball every 5th day, knowing he's going to be out there as long as he's effective. He was piggybacked in A-ball where he would start, go 3 innings, and then the next starter would come in behind him, and then next time around he might come in the 4th inning and then pitch 3 innings, and you never learn how to pitch that. You never pitch when you're tired. You never pitch out of trouble. You never learn how to make adjustments in the course of a game. And I think the industry is really doing these pitchers a disservice the way they're trying to develop them.
Well, then going to the bullpen as he has, you go from 4 pitches to 2 pitches a lot of times, and now back as a starter working on refining the secondary stuff.
That's what I worry about with young guys, where you have them as starters, then you put them in the bullpen. You're getting ready for a game 2 totally different ways. Then back to the starting rotation. That's what I worry about.
We have a whole bunch of examples of pitchers that have tried to do that without success. Daniel Bard came up with the Red Sox. It was a terrific closer. Jabba Chamberlain, they tried to make a starter. Neftali Felice, they tried to make a starter. It doesn't work. Making a judgment, making an evaluation of what you have, and then keep him in that role. And I think you pitch a starter until he fails as a starter. Starting pitching is hard to find.
A lot of people have wondered or have expressed an opinion that since the bullpen has struggled in setup relief, would Sanchez be moved back earlier to help plug that gap? Does the acquisition of Jason Grilli potentially lessen the need for that and keep Sanchez in the rotation?
I don't think that they're going to make an assessment on Sanchez based on Jason Grilli.
No.
I think what they're going to do is they're going to keep their eye on Aaron Sanchez. And we've been told that it's going to be a group effort as far as how they evaluate whether he's tired, whether they need to skip him. They've already skipped him once already and pushed him back an extra day, and they're going to do that as often as they can.
Sure, and stretch it out. And the good thing about that is they said their eyes are going to tell them what to do with Aaron,
as opposed to a set number of innings determined in advance.
How can you put a number on it?
If his treatment changes, if his workout routine changes, if bullpen sessions become shorter, if he does something that's a red flag indicating he might be sore, he might be tired, then they're going to reevaluate.
Fly ball to left center off the bat of Hicks. Pilar there. Let's get an update with Jamie. Well, the Mets got some very good news yesterday. Matt Harvey, who had been struggling terribly this year with an ERA over 6, threw 7 shutout innings against the White Sox yesterday afternoon, by far the best start that he's had this season. And it's only 1 start. But if Harvey has figured it out, the way Noah Syndergaard is pitching, the way Steven Matz is pitching, and Jacob deGrom, even though his velocity is a little down from last year, he's got an ERA under 3. That's a team you don't want to play in a short series or in a playoff series. You're going to run into a good pitcher every night.
The White Sox are a real surprise in how they've had that nosedive, given the fact they've got Chris Sale and Quintana in their rotation. Those are supposed to be stoppers. And Quintana lost 1-0 to Matt Harvey. So
is it the hitting?
Part of it is the bullpen. They had a series against Kansas City on the weekend.
Oh,
they were up 5-2 in the 7th on Friday and lost. They were up 7-1 going to the 9th on Saturday and lost. And they were up 4-2 going to the 7th on Sunday and lost. That's
first time Kansas City's ever won 3 games like that, where they trailed by 2 or more runs in the 7th inning or later. And they came back and won all 3 of those.
I mean, to give up 7 runs in the 9th inning and to lose a game 8-7. And David Robertson was out there.
Robertson.
David Robertson, most of it, and then a young pitcher has since been sent back down to the minors. Tommy Canely, who throws 100, came in, gave up 2 hits and 2 walks, threw a wild pitch on an intentional walk in that inning as well. And another game, it was Matt Albers who gave it up. Another game was Nate Jones who gave it up. And the Blue Jays saw Chicago early. The bullpen was fantastic.
They were outstanding. Yeah. Patrichka, Putnam, Robertson, Zach Duke, all the rest of them. So
peaks and valleys, right?
Yeah, it's a long season.
3-2 to Ellsbury. Ball 4. Second walk surrendered by Happ tonight. Well, let's see if Joe Girardi's in the move to start a runner with 2 outs, a speedy runner at first, and Rob Refsnyder the batter.
Might buy a few more fastballs for Refsnyder with the speed over there at first base.
That's the best way to shut down a running game. Go strike 1. Eliminate the number of pitches Ellsbury has to get a jump. Russell hasn't thrown nearly as well as he did last year. He was the best in baseball last year, threw out 40% of the base stealers. Right now he's at 14.8%.
0-2.
But last year he threw as well as I've ever seen him throw, and threw as good as anybody in baseball.
Quick, accurate. Some of that's on the pitchers too, right? They have to give them a good feed. They also have to do a good job of holding the base runners over there at first base.
Did you have years, Buck, where you felt you threw better or worse than the year before? Is it just like any other aspect of the game?
Yeah, you have slumps and timing issues and accuracy issues. Sure, you go from year to year where things don't work well. Of course, the pitcher always has something to do with it.
There he goes. Not in time. Bounced it in, and it's a stolen base for Ellsbury, his 11th on the season.
Yeah, I think Jay Happ got a little bit ahead of himself. There were 2 strikes, and it's almost like he forgot about Ellsbury over there at first base. Watch Ellsbury just walk, time it, and go. He is almost halfway there to second base before Russell even touches the baseball. So that's what I mean about pitchers can do a better job of helping out Russell by holding the runners on first base a little longer.
It's the 33rd career steal for Ellsbury against the Blue Jays. Obviously, a lot of those as a member of the Red Sox. So he's in scoring position with 2 down, and the count now even at 2-2 on Refsnyder as the Yankees try to reclaim the lead here in the top of the 5th. Blue Jays have been getting some outstanding starting pitching. It has kept them in so many games. Their starters lead the American League in opponents' batting average and opponents' OPS. They're 3rd in ERA on the season. And they've gone 6 or more innings in 29 of the last 33 games. That having been said, some of the relievers were on fumes the last few days, and they've gone back up to an 8-man bullpen right now. Some guys were unavailable the last couple of days. Swing and a miss, and Happ gets him to end the inning. Strikeout number 3, and it's a big one, stranding a runner out at second.
with the MLB.com at-bat app. Customize at-bat to feature the Blue Jays and stay up to the moment at any moment with scores, news, live game video highlights, and much more. Download MLB.com at-bat, the #1 app for live baseball.
Thank you, Hazel. They may be doing that right now. To the bottom of the 5th inning in a 1-1 tie here at Rogers Center. The Yankee run coming back in the 2nd. Aaron Hicks drove it in on a fielder's choice. The Blue Jay run in the bottom of the 4th on a home run by Justin Smoke. It'll be Travis, Pilar, and Barney here in the 5th inning against CC Sabathia. Travis bounced into a double play his first time up.
His strength is going opposite field, staying on the ball, letting it track just a little bit. And we were talking last time, he was up about his timing's just not there. He's a little bit out in front on breaking balls. He's going to have to let that ball get a little bit deeper. See that? See how out in front he was?
You spoke to him about the difference between minor league pitching and major league pitching, and I thought it was pretty interesting what he told you.
He said that the minor leaguers, there's just not enough hard throwers down there. He says, I got to remember how hard they throw at the big league level and remember to hit the fastball. But they've been throwing in a lot of breaking balls, and his timing's just off a little bit.
And Sabathia strikes him out on 3 pitches.
Center fielder, #11, Kevin.
Home Hardware and Building Center locations. Proud partners of the Toronto Blue Jays. Homeowners helping homeowners with expert advice.
Everything on the natural?
You want a little of that? Tabby, what do you say?
Nope. Can't do it.
Can't do it?
Can't do it.
You guys are so good.
Disciplined. We're disciplined.
Although I ate dinner with you, Tabby, you crushed it.
Now the truth comes out.
Now wait a minute. It was all healthy, wasn't it?
It was all healthy. Both plates. Kevin Pillar, the batter, walked his first time up. He has made another spectacular Kevin Pillar Superman kind of catch tonight, robbing Austin Romine on a sinking liner in right center field back in the 4th inning. Full extension. I think if the ball's another 2 inches away from him, I don't think he catches it.
No, that's a triple. Tell you what, he takes a lot of pride in his defense, and he says, every ball that goes up, I feel like I can catch it, and I'm going to go as hard as I can until I feel I can't. He made a great play in that inning to rob Starling Castro, and then to end it with this one right here. Full extension. Look at the concentration, looking that ball right into his glove.
Down and in ball 3.
You know, Kevin Pillar didn't get a chance to go to a major baseball school. He went to a Division II school, Cal State Dominguez Hills in Los Angeles, and when he got there, the coach said, listen, you fellas are here because you weren't good enough to play D1 baseball. You have to do everything better. You have to play fundamentally sound. You have to have good at-bats. You got to play defense. And Kevin Pillar has lived by that message right into his big league career.
I think that's why he's so fundamentally sound as a baseball player. He had a play last night where it looked like a single to right field, and he ran it into a double. I mean, he just plays the game the right way every day.
Three-two pitch on the way. Popped straight up on the infield. Castro just on the outfield grass will make the catch for out number 2. Tell you, if Sabathia, if he can sustain this after the way he struggled most of last year and early this year before he went on the DL with Tanaka, with Evaldi, that's some pretty good options. Nova's come into the rotation and has looked pretty good. Severino, by the way, was activated off the DL but outrighted down to the minors, so he's going to try to figure it out at AAA. Nova will stay in the rotation. Pineda's the big issue they've got on the rotation right now.
This started for CC Sabathia last year, starting to pitch well.
Sabathia's had problems with his leg, and what he's done is he's worn a splint, a brace, and he put that brace on last September. It's on his landing leg on his right leg, and it comes down hard. He's a big guy, but now he doesn't have fear of that knee not holding up, pitching with a lot of confidence.
Barney grounds out to end the inning. And we're at the end of 5 at Rogers Center, all tied up at 1. Another game. Did you see what Seattle did to San Diego today? Beat them 16-4.
5 home runs.
5 home runs in that game. 2 of them for Seth Smith. Hisashi Iwakuma got the win. James Shields, whose name has been floating around in trade rumors these days, gave up 10 earned runs in 2 2/3 innings.
Price is dropping.
Yes. Here's Mark Teixeira. Teixeira, Beltran, and Castro for the Yankees here in the 6th inning. Seattle's got a pretty good ball club this year.
Yeah, they do. They've got balance. They've got offense. They've got pretty good defense. Cano's having the kind of season they expected him to have.
Sharply hit. Stopped by Barney. Back to his feet. On to first. And Smoke brings it down to secure the out.
You know, when you make a lot of pitches and you throw a lot of strikes and you work quickly, you're going to have great defensive play behind you. And Erwin Barney at shortstop sets himself, fires high, and Justin Smoke, 6'4", presents a great throwing target for any infielder. He's got long arms. He can go out there and stretch for it. Just get it close to the bag. He's going to catch it.
There's an interesting dynamic here in this game tonight with Barney playing short and Castro playing second for the Yankees. They were both in the Cubs system, and Barney was in AAA. Castro was in AA. And Jim Hendry was on his way out as the GM, and they promoted Castro from AA to the major leagues to play shortstop. Naturally, Barney was having a great year in AAA. He got upset, went into his manager and said, "What am I going to do?" His manager said, "Well, let's start working out at second. Maybe you can find a spot with the Cubs at second." His manager was
Ryan Sandberg.
Pretty good guy to work out with, huh?
At second base. And he worked so well with Sandberg, talking about the double plays, and said some of the harder plays were the right-handers where they would hit the ball to me at second base. He won a Gold Glove when he was with the Cubs.
Well, it's going to be interesting to see how it all develops, because when Troy Tulowitzki comes back, there's probably not room for 4 middle infielders on this team. Barney being given a chance to play some short to show whether he can be an adequate backup at short. Of course, Ryan Goins is a superior defender. Darwin Barney is hitting the ball very well this year, better than Goins is, as Beltran lines one into left field.
Don't those things always seem to work themselves out?
Yeah. And managers will say that. You'll sit in a manager's office and you'll say, So Tabler's coming back. Is he going to make the start on Tuesday? Who's coming out of the rotation? Is Martinez coming out? And they'll say, unfortunately, these things have a way of working out, which means somebody gets hurt between now and then.
And you never make decisions until you're forced to, by a timing, by a guy getting healthy, by somebody coming off the roster, because you never know what one game is going to bring.
The batter is Castro, 0 for 2. That hit by Beltran, the first hit for the Yankees since the second inning, and their 4th hit of the night. The Blue Jays have 3. Beltran recently surpassing 2,500 hits in his career.
Is he a Hall of Famer?
I think he is.
Switch hitter. I think there's maybe 3 guys, switch hitters in history, who have hit more home runs than Carlos Beltran.
Mantle, Murray, Chipper.
Chipper, yeah.
3 pretty good players.
And Beltran was a center fielder early in his career, go outfielder as well. So he's got great postseason numbers. He's a switch hitter. You know, he's, like you say, among the leaders as far as switch hitters go, and a very good base runner when he was younger.
Yep.
Steal a lot of bases.
I think he's got the highest stolen base percentage in baseball history. He's stolen 311 bases. He doesn't run much anymore at all. And he's only been caught 49 times in his career. He's got over 400 homers, over 500 doubles, over 2,500 hits. He'll surpass 1,500 RBIs this year, and a phenomenal postseason player.
Doesn't look like he's slowing down either, does it?
39 years of age. Contract up at the end of this year, I believe. It says he wants to keep playing after this year. 2-2.
In 5 years of postseason play, he played in 11 series and has a .332 career average with 16 homers and 40 RBIs.
Well, that year that he had for Houston back in 04 was incredible. That he parlayed that into that big deal with the Mets.
With the Mets.
Yep.
He had 8 home runs in 12 games during that postseason.
That's the best of the best.
Runner not going, and the pitch lined to right center field. Pilar started in, now going back and runs it down. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership, and it may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership. Pilar with a great catch, Smoke with a home run, a 1-1 tie here in the 6th inning. And the batter Chase Headley doubled and scored in the 2nd, struck out in the 4th. Broken to bat, past the mound. Travis has it and will elect to race the runner Beltran to 2nd, and he'll win it by a step to end the inning. To the bottom of the 6th, Blue Jays coming up in a 1-1 tie. 1 tie going to the bottom of the 6th inning here at Rogers Center. Dan Shulman, Buck Martinez, Pat Tabler. The Blue Jays still searching for all the offense they can find, and Tabby tonight has been Justin Smoke.
Well, you know, he's finally getting some playing time for the Toronto Blue Jays. This is a guy who hit 18 home runs last year with less than 300 at-bats, so now he gets a chance to prove what he can do every day. He made some adjustments in spring training. He started hitting in spring training, and he hasn't stopped this year. He has accounted for the Blue Jays' only run tonight.
And Buck, another night, another pitcher's duel, another close game the Blue Jays are involved in.
These two guys met last Thursday in New York, and we're having the same type of success tonight. Both of them pitching very well. A different style of pitching for sure. CC Sabathia working both sides of the plate, both lefties and righties, while Jay Happ has mixed his pitches very effectively. Only 2 runs and 7 hits in the entire ball game, and both of these guys are hooked up in a pretty good pitcher's duel.
Ezekiel Carrera leads it off at a fly ball to right field. A broken bat fly ball to right field his first time up. Thinking about bunting his way aboard, but he bunts it foul.
Zeke was out here today around 3 o'clock or so working on that play right there. Came out with Louis Rivera, and they were just going to work on bunts up the first base line, knowing that Sabathia doesn't get off the mound very well, and he falls off towards the third base side.
And what they found out was that that ball that rolls up that first baseline will stay fair, and it'll get stuck in that foul line. They saw a couple of those balls rock back and forth, and they'll stay on the line. They won't go in foul territory.
Sharply hit and under the glove of Castro out into right center.
That's the result of that bunt attempt by Carrera. Castro was leaning a little bit to his left, anticipating the possibility of another drag bunt. And watch how late he reacts. He is late reacting to it and actually goes over the top of that as it sneaks under his glove.
Look where
Carrera
he is.
put thoughts on his mind.
Look where he is on the dirt. He's in the middle of the infield, shortening up because of that bunt attempt. So that ball squirts underneath his glove.
So another base hit for Carrera, and the leadoff man aboard here in the bottom of the 6th. Carrera with a 1 for 2 tonight is now hitting .386 on the season. 22 for 57. Top of the order, Jose Bautista 0 for 2. Ground ball to third. Headley to second one, on to first. Double play. Third double play the Jays have hit into tonight.
This Blue Jays Rogers 4K broadcast is powered by the Samsung 4K SUHD TV.
Beautiful night in Toronto. 2 down here in the bottom of the 6th. The Yankees and the Blue Jays tied at 1. CC Sabathia against Jay Happ. Josh Donaldson has struck out and singled. Each team with a run on 4 hits so far. Yankees have left 5 men on. The Blue Jays only 1 because of the 3 double plays they've hit into tonight.
As we mentioned, these two lefties faced each other in Yankee Stadium in the afternoon game last Thursday, and Jay Happ won 3-1. While Sabathia and Happ were in the game, it was a 2-1 game. The Blue Jays got a 3rd run off of Aroldis Chapman in the 9th, as you see Joe Biagini loosening up.
That was a huge add-on run, wasn't it? CC was so good. Both of those runs were unearned.
Yep. Gregorius made an error, and then with 2 outs in the inning, Encarnacion to cash in a couple of runners with a base hit. Donaldson lifts a fly ball to right field. Ref Snyder's got plenty of room, and that's the inning. No runs, a base hit, nobody left. End of 6, still tied at 1.
Eyes on Sportsnet. Presented by the all-new Honda Civic, now available with Turbo, the 2016 North American Car of the Year.
More good eats here at Rogers Center. 1-1 tie heading to the 7th between the Yankees and Blue Jays. And John Gibbons has gone to his bullpen. Jay Happ, 6 innings, 1 run, 97 pitches out of the game. And rookie right-hander Joe Biagini's coming in.
Jay Happ was going deep in every game but one of them this year. So after 97 pitches, he has pulled Joe Biagini in for the 17th time this year. He's had 20 innings. As you see that down there in that third column, he's only allowed 2 earned runs in those 20 innings. Righties 196, lefties 259. Good fastball and a very impressive hard curveball. He has been on a nice little hot streak for the Blue Jays.
Bottom third of the Yankee lineup coming up here in the 7th inning. Austin Romine, Didi Gregorius, and Aaron Hicks. Romine with an infield hit and then robbed of another hit on a diving catch by Kevin Pillar back in the 4th inning. Romine showing more with the bat this year than he has previously in his major league career, and earning a little bit more playing time and also getting a chance to play first base every now and again. The Yankees have a need, and he's swinging the bat well, and he's kind of figuring it out on the fly at the major league level, but he's doing the best he can. It's funny, for a team that has a ton of so-called DHs, they don't have a backup first baseman. They don't have anybody else now that Dustin Ackley's gotten hurt, and Greg Bird's a loss for them.
Yeah.
He played so well at the end of last season.
Yeah. Teixeira's had some injuries over there at first base. Bird didn't even get an at-bat this year because he got hurt. And now Ackley. So if you want to be a first baseman for the Yankees, watch out.
Well, James Loney, who's a guy that everybody was wondering. He was in AAA with the Padres after getting released by Tampa Bay. He was just acquired by the Mets because the Mets have a need at first base too. Lucas Duda's out about 8 weeks. Did he go? There's the appeal. He did not, says Field and Culbreth, and it's 3-1.
Well, so Martin not so sure about that. He and C.B. Buckner had a lengthy exchange after that appeal down to first.
Full count. Tampa Bay, by the way, now with a 3-2 lead on the Royals. The Rays got 3 in the 2nd. Corey Dickerson hit a 3-run homer. It's Drew Smyly against Dylan G in that game. Red Sox are leading the Orioles 5-2, top of the 6th at Camden Yards. Strike 3 called, says C.B. Buckner, and they're down to first to complete it for out number 1, and down to Jamie for an update. Well, May 31st is a long way from the end of the season. Tony Gwynn finished at .394 in 1994, which was the strike season. It ended in the middle of August. Daniel Murphy, who put on a huge power display for the Mets in the playoffs last year, is now hitting over .390 for the Nationals this season.
Jason Worth hit his 8th home run in that game. He's quietly having a decent start to his season with the power.
Big swing and a miss by Gregorius. Buck, what do you like best about Biagini?
He doesn't know where he is.
Do you mean his composure?
His composure. Oh, that's it. His composure. The fact that he throws all of his pitches with confidence, and he's developed a little more of a cutter. He's got a good sinking fastball and a curveball. And literally, he just wants to go out there and pitch. Joe, you're in the game. Okay. And he responds very effectively. He's doing a great job.
For a guy who never pitched above AA heading into this year, just didn't know what you were going to get from Joe Biagini. He was a Rule 5 guy, meaning that he has to be in the major league roster the whole season. Didn't know what you were going to get. Well, he came in and had a good outing, then he had another good outing, then another good outing, and now he's starting to move towards the back end of ball games now, gaining a lot of confidence in his manager.
Curveball fouled off.
I'll tell you, for a Rule 5 player, this is a great pickup. Rule 5 draft is when a team leaves him exposed. He's not on a major league draft. He's played either 3 or 4 years, depending on when he's signed. Other teams can pluck him off your roster. And Biagini was on the Giants AAA roster, and the Blue Jays took him. He reminds me a lot, and actually wears the same number as Jim Acker. And Jim Acker, too, was a Rule 5 player from Atlanta. And Pat Gillick was a master of that Rule 5 draft. He picked up a ton of players through the Rule 5 draft.
Wasn't George Bell a Rule 5? Manny Lee was Rule 5.
Lou Thornton.
Gregorius finds a hole between first and second. Tim Hortons Camp Day is tomorrow, Wednesday, June the 1st. Buy your coffee at Tim Hortons, and coffee proceeds are donated to helping thousands of low-income children attend a life-changing skills and values-based camp experience. So make a point of visiting your local Tim Hortons tomorrow to celebrate Camp Day.
I do it every morning. I got my T-shirt. I'm ready to go. I tell you another Rule 5 draft that the Blue Jays picked up with Pat Gillick. How about Kelly Grubman?
That's right.
From Cleveland. Rule 5 guy from Cleveland. They are the master of that. I thought the Blue Jays. I mean, they built their organization with that.
Who was the best Rule 5 pick in the history of the draft?
Can I answer that, teacher? Roberto Clemente.
Roberto Clemente.
Wow. He was left unprotected.
The Dodgers.
The Dodgers had him, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How about that?
They kind of missed on that.
He was a little skinny.
Wow.
Didn't think he was going to fill out.
I think he filled out. He did okay.
He did fine. But the Dodgers were so loaded with players. As you see, big Dylan Betances loosening up.
Joe Girardi's got 3 closer types down there in Betances, Miller, and Chapman, and not afraid to use all 3 in the same game, even if they don't necessarily have the lead. If it's tied, runner is going, chopped towards third. Donaldson's only play with the runner moving is to first, 2 down.
Good usage of the hit and run right there by the Yankees. They start the runner. And now they've got a runner in scoring position. I was watching Darwin Barney on that play, and he went over to cover the bag and then realized that there was not going to be a throw. Josh Donaldson came in to make the play, and then he hustled over to try and cover third base just in case Gregorius had thoughts of maybe going first to third on that ground down.
That's the kind of play we just talked about. Daniel Murphy in the division series last year for the Mets against the Dodgers. He took third on that kind of a play and scored the winning run in a game.
So many plays within a ball game that you can't read about in a box score.
Right.
You have to watch, and you see the little things that happen during the ball game. Something like that by Darwin Barney was a heads-up play.
Well, like the Jeter play in the playoffs where he goes over to,
that's right,
takes the relay throw and gets Jeremy Giambi at the plate over on the first base line.
It goes down as a 9-6-2
right
put out,
right,
but
yeah,
it also saved the Yankees.
no balls, 2 strikes to count on Ellsbury with a go-ahead run out at second and 2 down here in the top of the 7th. Giving Martin a workout.
That's okay. That's where you want Biagini to miss with that breaking ball. He's got the confidence in Russell that he's going to block anything in the dirt, and certainly with 2 strikes you want to bury that ball. Make sure that you don't leave it up where Ellsbury can put it in play.
Inside with a fastball. You can hear the crowd groaning that that wasn't called a strike, but you can see it was a couple of inches off the plate.
Here's where Biagini needs to lean on Russell Martin. You got a right-handed hitter in Refsnyder on deck, and you got a base open. Ellsbury, of course, is the key to their offense right now. He's the one guy that has been getting big hits for them. Went away with the fastball.
I say keep using the breaking ball. That little cutter on the inside or that overhand curveball. If you end up blocking Ellsbury, big deal. Right? Ellsbury's faced him already in his career. He's 1 for 1 against him.
Biagini shook off Martin
twice.
Better have a chat
go out
about
there and
this.
talk to him. Yeah, I'd go out there and talk to him.
Biagini's got a particular pitch on his mind. Now he's set.
Missed up and away. No appeal down to third, and the count is full.
I got to tell you, I'm not sure what that pitch was. It might have been a changeup. Tried to turn it over, and it wasn't very good.
Now, whatever Martin put down, Biagini agrees with right away. Much better one right there.
That reminds me of a story I remember years ago when Jerry Grody, the catcher for the Mets, was talking about getting prepared in spring training. Said he used to practice catching foul tips.
Okay. How do you do that?
You don't. But I was thinking about it. Russell wanted to grab that one.
Again, the full count pitch. Yes, he did. Chased a cutter down and in, and Biagini strikes him out. Another big inning for the rookie. Tied at 1, going to the bottom of the 7th. 3, 4, 5 coming up for the Blue Jays. Encarnacion, Smoke, and Martin.
Canada's largest and official team shop for your Toronto Blue Jays. And one of the things you can purchase is a terrific book called Change Up by the one and only Buck Martinez. Dan, you might know him.
I do know, and I've read the book. And if you can get past the hair on the cover, the gorgeous hair, if you can force yourself to open the book, you'll find it's a great book.
Thank you.
Yeah. About
I
the hair
appreciate
or the
your
book?
contributions.
The hair comment or the book comment? Because you like your hair.
I'm not concerned about my hair. Everybody else is, but it's okay. There's an awful lot of books left on the shelf down here, Dan.
Let's go. Come on.
Encarnacion leads off the 7th and takes a strike on the outside corner from Sabathia.
What a game. How about this last stretch of games between Boston and the Yankees? It's been terrific.
Always seen as a big stretch, obviously, for the Blue Jays playing divisional foes. They got a couple of series coming up in the next couple of weeks with Baltimore.
Yeah, it doesn't just stop with the Yankees.
No.
We go on the road and we get to play the Boston Red Sox over the weekend. Baltimore comes back in town when we get back off of that road trip. I mean, it doesn't stop.
Detroit, you get to see Miguel Cabrera, Victor Martinez. I think the good news is the Blue Jays got a chance of missing Verlander and Anibal Sanchez.
Low with the breaking ball, ball 2.
That's what's been going on with the Blue Jays. As you see, Jesse Chavez now starting to warm up. A lot of close games, and that's why they are carrying 8 relievers right now. The relievers have had to do a lot of work lately.
Tough with a 3-man bench, though. You have 1 infielder, 1 outfielder, 1 catcher on the bench. Tonight it's Goins, Saunders, and Tolley.
Well, and they have made a point of having Goins take balls at first base now. He's going to be an emergency first baseman as well.
This ball's drilled left center field. Off the wall on a bounce. Encarnacion into second with a leadoff double. Drive of the game is brought to you by the all-new Honda Civic, the 2016 North American Car of the Year.
Let's go back to the 4th inning with Justin Smoak at bat against CC Sabathia, and he blasts this ball to left field. Deep. Smoak with his 5th home run of the season. That tied it up for the Blue Jays, and as he rounds the bases, that's our drive of the game.
And as we bring you back to live action, that's all for CC Sabathia. Dellin Betances coming in from the bullpen. Night, albeit just an 80-pitch night for CC Sabathia. Gives up a run in 6+ innings. He's responsible for Encarnacion out at second. He cannot win it, but he can lose it if the Blue Jays go ahead and stay ahead. But to go ahead, they'll have to accomplish something against Dellin Betances, and that's not a misprint. He's got 46 strikeouts in 23 1/3 innings.
And 8 straight appearances where he's had multiple strikeouts. 1 and 2 with a 193 earned run average for the big right-hander. Devastating breaking ball. Heat. And the game that he pitched in New York, he was touching over 100 miles an hour. Something that we've never seen from him in the past.
Well, the Blue Jays know they may face Betances, Miller, and Chapman here this game. They got something done against Chapman in that last game back in New York last week. Here's Smoak turning around to bat for the left side against the right-hander Betances with a go-ahead run at second. And a slider is in for a strike.
Well, you got to gear yourself up and get ready for that fastball against Betances, and then he can drop that curve ball or that breaking ball on you. It is a wicked combination.
Slider bounced foul, 0-2.
The Yankees waited a long time on Dellin Betances. He grew up in New York. He was born in New York, went to high school in Brooklyn, and he spent 5 full seasons in the minors. They had 2 young pitchers, Manny Banuelos and Dellin Betances, they thought were going to be starters. And it took a while for them to identify Betances as a reliever.
His problem was he couldn't find the strike zone as a starter. through tons and tons of pitches. They put him in the bullpen and say, okay, go get him. Get your one inning in there, and it just fastball, breaking ball. That's all he has to do. And throw it as hard as you can for an inning.
Threw it as hard as he could, and he blew it by Smoke. 99-mile-an-hour fastball for out number 1.
Throws a couple of breaking balls, and then when he gets 2 strikes, look at this thing right over the top. He's 6'8", so he's intimidating in that respect. That time, 99, up and away.
What has really allowed him to take the next step to that elite level is the fact he could throw strikes with his breaking ball. So you have to honor that pitch, and then you're late on the fastball.
Russell Martin, the batter. 1 for 2 tonight, is singled and struck out. And here's where you got to believe, with Martin's natural power alley being to the opposite field, right center, and Betances throwing so hard, that Martin probably thinking just about shooting one through the right side. He's gotten a couple of sliders, took one and swung and missed at one.
I think the one thing you have to do against every one of these hard throwers is you got to make them get the ball down. Their fastball, they can throw it by you up around the letters, but if you concentrate on down, make sure that fastball is down, you're going to stay on it a little bit easier.
Fastball in for a strike, 1-2.
This can't be any fun, can it?
No, it's not any fun.
For a right-handed batter.
In New York, Betances knocked Bautista down with a fastball, and then Jose hit a double off it. I don't know how you do that.
I mean, look at the movement on that slider, too. Yeah. Broke 1.5 feet.
And it's 85. The slider's almost as hard as Estrada's fastball. He reminds me of James Rodney Richards, who was a great power pitcher for the Houston Astros. About the same size and had that long arm action, and he threw a wicked breaking ball.
Romine out to the mound. The wave going around Rogers Center. Tied at 1 in the bottom of the 7th. Blue Jays winning the opening game of the series last night. They'll wrap up the series tomorrow night. We've got it for you, beginning with Blue Jays Central, 6:30 Eastern. Martin lays off another slider, so he's seen 5 pitches. Only one of them, Tabby, has been a fastball.
And he took it like he was sitting on the breaking ball. Don't change anything.
Hanging slider that's hit to deep left field, and Hicks will run it down on the track. Betances made a mistake with it, and Martin almost made him pay.
Chances are Rob Refsnyder, who is in right, couldn't have made that play. And they started Hicks in left because CC Sabathia, the lefty, started the game. Hicks is a natural center fielder. He made a good play on that ball.
A little bit deeper, and they made a good break on it.
Refsnyder's naturally an infielder. He's playing in right field just for the 2nd time this season. But Hicks made a nice play on that ball.
So it'll be up to Devin Travis now with 2 down. Encarnacion led off the inning with a double. Sabathia taken out of the game then. Smoke struck out. Martin flied out. Betances missing badly with a first pitch slider to Travis, who's 0 for 2.
Boy, that was a good swing by Russell Martin. Stay right on that breaking ball. Didn't change anything at the plate and just missed it. He's getting close.
Well, for a guy with a 99-mile-an-hour fastball, he throws a lot of sliders.
Yeah, he does. He really throws a lot of sliders, and you would think he'd be a little more aggressive with his fastball, but obviously it's working for him.
Doesn't throw as many sliders to a left-handed batter as he does to a right-handed batter. Got Smoke with a fastball. 2-0 slider.
I got to give Devin Travis the green light right here.
Just because you think he'll get a fastball?
Yes. He might just lay one in there for him.
Missed down and away, and he walked him. Garcia looking on for the Yankees first base dugout. 2 men on now for the Blue Jays, and the batter will be Kevin Pillar. Fastball and a high strike. 0-1.
See, this is the value of having Betances, Miller, and Chapman in your bullpen. They can come into an inning with a runner on and get the strikeouts, so the guy doesn't move up. Edwin hit a leadoff double, and he's still at second.
Fastball hit into right field, a base hit. Encarnacion around third. The throw from Rick Snyder up the line, and the Blue Jays have taken the lead.
I believe that Kevin Pillar was going up there looking for a breaking ball and said, I'm going to react to the fastball. He took the first pitch fastball right down the middle for a strike, and that's why that ball ended up in right field. Shortened up his swing, shot the ball into the gap in right field. It's another heater right there. And look at it, a little bit late, but the hands come forward. The bat follows, shoots it into right field. And the Yankees don't have a lot of good throwing outfielders. Rep Snyder is an infielder, so his throw is offline, allowing Encarnacion to score the tie-breaking run.
If I was Pillar, I'd run on the first pitch because Betances throws so many breaking balls.
He is going. And it's a breaking ball for a strike, and Pillar takes it without a throw.
Just the pattern that you have seen from Betances made you think he was going to throw a first pitch breaking ball, and now the Blue Jays have 2 runners in scoring position.
Here's the 0-1. And a slider. He hung it like the one he did to Martin, but Barney fouled it off.
We mentioned this in New York when the Blue Jays got a double off Betances and then 3 singles off Chapman, how it gave him confidence that they could hit this very vaunted bullpen. That serves them well, especially against Kimbrel the other day.
Yep. They've done some pretty good work against some of the best in the business. Well, and the run's so big, although you still may see Miller and Chapman, but every night Joe Girardi has to decide, is it worth it to use all of my big 3 in this game, or do I want to save 1 or 2 of them for a better opportunity tomorrow? You just might keep the other 2 out of the game with that 1 run.
Just depends on how the game unfolds.
Yep. Another base hit. Travis home. Pillar behind him, and 2 more runs for the Blue Jays. Barney caught in a rundown. Not yet, now, but a 2-run single to give the Blue Jays a 4-1 lead as they cash in large off one of the toughest relievers in the business tonight in Betances.
Introducing an exciting new way to stream sports. Sportsnet Now lets you live stream your favorite sports without cable TV. All you need is internet. Start your free trial today. Visit sportsnet.ca/now. Dan.
All right, Hazel, thank you. What an inning for the Blue Jays, culminating with the two-run single tabby from Darwin Barnes.
Well, sometimes you don't take a full swing and you find the hole, and the Blue Jays have done a good job with 2 strikes going the other way. Ever since that series back in New York against these tough pitchers, they have taken the ball the other way, and Barney heads up. He's just going to run until they tag him out. He will trade this out for a run. They cut the ball off. That allows Pilar to score. Darwin Barney with some clutch hitting.
New pitcher for the Blue Jays, right-hander Jesse Chavez. Last pitched on Sunday against Boston, went an inning and 2/3, didn't give up a run, allowed a couple of hits. Joe Espada, the third base coach, heading back to his position. Brett Gardner is pinch hitting for Rob Refsnyder. All of a sudden, it's 4-1 Blue Jays, top of the 8th inning. And if Chavez can get through this inning unscathed, then John Gibbons can turn it over to Osuna in the 9th. Where the Blue Jays, we touched on it last half inning, in the last week, have had outstanding at-bats against Aroldis Chapman, Craig Kimbrell, and now Dellin Betances.
Flamethrowers. And I asked a couple of the young players, said, what does it do to you when you get hits against those guys? And they said the confidence goes way up. I know I can handle these guys. I know I can handle the best of the best. And believe me, these are the best of the best.
Gardner strikes out. Let's get an update with Jamie Campbell. What a player he is.
Do you know those home runs he hit as a leadoff batter in the first and second inning in Boston Red Sox history? That's the first time that's ever happened for a leadoff hitter to hit a home run in the first.
In his first 2 at bat, in the first and second innings.
In the first and second inning. Think about all the great hitters that they've had. And now he hits another one.
If they get their pitching halfway figured out, they're going
to be tough.
They're trouble. Yeah. There's a towering fly ball to shallow center field off the bat of Mark Teixeira. 2 down.
It's time to convert your big outdoor tasks into short, effortless work. Make the great outdoors even greater with Honda Power Equipment.
Here's Beltran. Chavez looking sharp. Jason Gurley's been acquired by the Blue Jays. If you missed the news a little bit earlier, from the Atlanta Braves, a guy who could certainly fill the 8th inning role. Jesse Chavez trying to say to John Gibbons, not so fast. Maybe you give me another shot. Osuna's up just in case he's needed this inning. Chavez is working at warp speed too here. He's
nothing wrong with that. He's filling up the strike zone, and everybody down in that bullpen understands that there are opportunities all over the place. You step up and start having some good innings, you got a chance to pitch a lot of big innings.
Beltran hits one down the right field line, racing into foul territory, and making the catch is Barney. Playing way out there because of the shift, going a long way into foul territory. What an inning he has had with a 2-run single in the bottom of the 7th, and Chavez waiting to congratulate him on a splendid catch down the line.
Great concentration, and he is a second baseman, so he's used to going into foul territory, knows just how much room he has. The defense has been on their game tonight.
Time now for a Blue Jays Central update. Here are Jamie Campbell and Greg Zahn in the Samsung broadcast studio. formula's been good pitching, timely hitting, and tonight, Tabby, some great defense.
Some great defense. When you throw a lot of strikes, the defense is going to go out there and try and help you out. Kevin Pillar does it, taking away a hit from Austin Robine, and now this one is a thing of beauty. That is the shortstop in the shift, Darwin Barney, ranging far to his left, keeping an eye on that ball all the way to finish off Carlos Beltran for the out. Darwin Barney does it with the bat. That time he does it with the glove.
Right-hander Kirby Yates now into the game for the Yankees, here to work the bottom of the 8th inning. These right-handers had a good year, but again, the runs the Blue Jays got just kept Miller out of the game. Joe Girardi won't use him down by 3.
There are the numbers for Kirby Yates. Nice little find. He spent some time in the big leagues with Tampa Bay. He's been around 2-0 with 237 earned run average. He's worked 19 innings. There is a break in the play as a fan came out on the play, so Yates is going to wait for it.
Home Hardware and Building Center locations, proud partners of the Toronto Blue Jays. Homeowners helping homeowners with expert advice.
Now the changes for the Yankees. Brett Gardner remains in the game in left field after batting for Rob Refsnyder, and Aaron Hicks moves from left field to right field. A big bottom of the 7th for the Blue Jays. A great catch by Barney in the top of the 8th, and now 4-1 lead going to the bottom of the 8th. Blue Jays trying to make it 2 in a row in this series over the Yankees, and if they win this game tonight, that would be 4 consecutive series wins.
Minnesota, New York, Boston, and now New York if they could win this game tonight. That's how you get back into a pennant race. You win series. You don't have to sweep series. You just have to win series. Of course, Aaron Sanchez will go to the mound tomorrow against Masahiro Tanaka. Great pitching matchup.
Well, the good news for the Blue Jays, if they win tonight, they're going to pick up a game on somebody who's in front of them in the American League East, because Boston is playing Baltimore. The Red Sox leading the Orioles 6-2 in the 8th inning. Mookie Betts has 3 home runs, as Jamie told you, and he's going to get another at bat. He's got a chance for his 4th home run.
He's got 40 RBIs. He drove in 5 tonight.
Leadoff hitter.
Well, and that's the reflection of the depth of their lineup. You know, he leads off once, and then he's got a chance to come up with guys on base because their lineup is so deep.
That's the most RBIs for a leadoff hitter in all of baseball. Credit to the bottom of that lineup.
This is going to be a terrific pennant race. The Blue Jays are going to end up hitting like they did last year. Maybe not as much, but they're going to hit. And when these two clubs hook up, the Red Sox and the Blue Jays, there's going to be some fireworks.
2-2 the count on Carrera.
You know, we mentioned Jason Grilli. Well, Russell Martin was his catcher in Pittsburgh when Grilli was a terrific closer. And I know that Grilli is pleased to be coming to Toronto and being reunited with his former catcher.
Swing and a miss, and Carrera's gone.
That being said, we got to realize Jason Grilli's 39 years old, and he's coming off a nasty injury last year. But at the same time, the experience he brings to this bullpen, for me, is a lot like what Troy Hawkins brought to the bullpen last July.
That's what I am thinking. What the thinking is, you get an experienced arm, but you've got a guy who's been around, and he can teach some of those tricks to some of those young players down there.
Well, by adding Grilli, assuming they get Cecil back a few weeks from now, the bullpen begins to take on a bit of a different look, too.
Well, and what happens is the competition gets more intense, and all of a sudden it raises everybody's performance level. Look what it's done for the middle infielders. Devin Travis is back. All of a sudden, Darwin Barney's playing a little bit better. Last night, Ryan Goins hits a home run and a double.
Contributions. We saw that last year, I thought, with the bullpen. After they made the trades, they got Hawkins and they got Lowe to go down there. Sanchez came back off the disabled list, and all of a sudden the guys out there were pushing each other, and nobody wanted to give up a run. Became a very deep bullpen.
Well, that's the way you feel about the rotation this year, I think. Sanchez talked today about learning from Estrada. He's sitting beside right now, watching him throw changeups to the Yankees, watching him change speeds against the Yankees.
Troy Tulowitzki has been a real asset the last couple of days while he's on the DL. He has been out every day early working with Devin Travis around second, Ryan Goins. He and Tulo are very close. But Luis Rivera was really complimentary of the effort Troy has put in, trying to come out and get the young guys. And what he told Devin today is, have fun out here when you're playing defense. Enjoy the process. It's baseball. Relax and have fun. What great advice.
Bautista skies one back at first for Teixeira, and moves into foul territory to make the catch for out number 2.
Who says you can't help the ball club when you're on the disabled list?
Good players can help the ball club no matter where they are. David Price helped the ball club when he wasn't pitching last year. Tulowitzki did even while he was hurt. Remember, he went on the DL last year after that collision in New York with Pilar.
He didn't go anywhere. This is what you were talking about right here, talking with Devin Travis. They wanted to get him to field the ball out in front of him just a little bit more. You can see Tulowitzki with all of his experience helping out the youngster. Even Josh Donaldson got in the act too, didn't he?
Good players passing along their experience to less experienced players.
And the Blue Jays on the whole playing a lot better than they were a couple of weeks ago. They've had a lot of close games, but they've managed to find a way to win most of them. They've won 8 of their last 11, leading here tonight. You got to imagine too, even though as Ryan Tepera now has joined Osuna in the bullpen, and the news gets around the clubhouse pretty fast when the team makes a trade too. And you know, granted, as you said, Grilly's 39, remains to be seen exactly what they're getting, but that pumps up the clubhouse a little bit to know that management's out there making a deal. And it's not July 31st, it's May 31st. Now, part of that is the need that they have, but to make a deal this early in the season can energize them.
Yeah, it sure can. And I'll bet you everybody went right to Russell Martin's locker and said, what about Jason Grilly? You know, obviously they were teammates. He knows him well.
I think about where they are in their schedule also. We've talked about that the last couple of days. Yankees, Red Sox, Yankees, Red Sox, Baltimore, Detroit. I mean, no cakewalks there.
Mark Shapiro, the president, on the right. Ross Atkins, the GM, on the left. Doing a little bit more smiling these days. Blue Jays have played a ton of divisional games, and they've got more coming up in the next couple of weeks. Then starting kind of the 3rd week of June, they'll get out of their division for a healthy stretch.
30 straight games they played non-AL East teams once they get to June 21st, and that's a big stretch. So that's why these games are so important. You want to keep your head above water, keep pace with everybody else in the East, and then hopefully make up ground when you get out of the East for that long stretch.
Well, the way of looking at the glass as half full was always they haven't played very well, but they haven't buried themselves. They were hanging around 500, a couple under, a couple over. As well as the Red Sox are playing, the Blue Jays are only 5 back.
And they were losing some really tough games. I mean, really tough games. Walk-off games, walk-off home runs, hits, bases loaded walks, those kind of games. And you knew eventually that that was going to turn, that they were going to do something within the framework of that game to win it.
High fly ball to right field. Plenty of room for Hicks, and the inning is over. To the 9th at Rogers Center, the Blue Jays leading 4-1, and you know what that means. It's time for Roberto Osuna to make his way into the game and try to nail it down. Tomorrow afternoon, Miguel Gonzalez and the White Sox, Jacob deGrom and the Mets as they wrap up that interleague series tomorrow 1 Eastern, 10 in the morning Pacific time on Sportsnet. Well, if John Gibbons can get to this guy, he's feeling pretty good about things. And thanks to a 3-run at bottom of the 7th, some great relief work. It's 4-1 Blue Jays going to the 9th. Roberto Osuna on looking for save number 12.
He's had a couple of days off to catch his breath. He's been pitching a lot. He's been up a lot because of all these close games, but he has been very effective when he has entered the ball game. 11 for 12 in save opportunities this year. He's been nailing that fastball on both sides of the plate using the breaking ball. He was saying that he feels pretty good right now with those 2 days off, that he can save the ball game.
They used Storin to get a save last night because Osuna was unavailable. Now Osuna in to face Castro to begin the 9th, and he starts him with a fastball for a strike. If it holds up, Joe Biagini is going to get a win. Jesse Chavez pitched the 8th inning. Fouled off. For Biagini, it would be his 3rd win of the season. Osuna's not given up a run since April the 22nd. He has 15 consecutive scoreless outings. He's been rock solid.
When you talk to Roberto Osuna, it's easy to forget he's 21. I mean, you talk to him and he's so in tune with the game and the hitters and how to get people out. He told us something was interesting about when he started paying attention to baseball as a youngster.
Yeah, it's really funny. He said, when I was 7 years old, my dad used to make me come in and watch the game of baseball. He said it was very boring for me. He'd get mad at his dad, but what he did was he learned the game of baseball. He said his dad told him, watch the game, you might learn something.
Learned how to throw a pretty good slider. 1 down. Now for a preview of what's coming up on Sportsnet Central, here are Ken and Ivanka. We just might. Ken and Ivanka looking forward to Sportsnet Central coming up after the ball game tonight. The Blue Jays 2 outs away from another win over the Yankees. Chase Headley is the batter. He's 1 for 3, doubled and scored the lone Yankee run back in the 2nd inning.
You know what all those hours did for Roberto Osuna watching baseball on television? He does the same thing right now as a reliever. He goes down into that bullpen and he watches the game and he learns things. He watches how Marco Estrada gets outs. He watches how the New York Yankees swing the bat, and then he tries to incorporate his pitches and visualizes how he's going to get outs. There's one of them right there.
Great changeup, man. He's got such a feel for pitching, and we saw this in the Yankees series when he shook off Russell Martin and threw a slider early in the at-bat to Alex Rodriguez and intentionally bounced it in the dirt. And then came back after several fastballs with 2 strikes, threw a slider for a strike, and shook to it. He's the one that wanted that slider on the 3-2 pitch.
Because he said he knew he couldn't reach it.
Base hit up the middle, 2nd hit of the night for Headley. And now Brian McCann is going to hit for Austin Romine. Well, that Barney base hit looks pretty big right now. That extended a 2-1 lead to 4-1. Now McCann, even if he sends one out of the ballpark, can't tie the game. Late on the fastball, and it's 0-1.
He did that in the 9th inning last night when the Blue Jays were up 4-0, hit a 2-run home run off of Aaron Loop. But you're right, that tying run is still on the on-deck circle.
98, but he misses low, a ball and a strike. 33,419 in attendance here at Rogers Center tonight. Watching the Blue Jays leading in the 9th inning, 2 outs away from winning their 9th game in their last 12. Ball 2. Marcus Stroman leaning over the railing. In the game as always. Good performance by J-Happ. Biagini a good inning. Chavez a good inning. Now Osuna in the 9th. Fastball by him, 2-2. Stroman will start in Boston on Friday against David Price. That'll be something. Fly ball driven to deep center. Pilar back. Makes the catch. 2 down.
That's the thing about that Osuna fastball. When he throws it up there, it's tough to get on top of it and drive it out of the ballpark. Just didn't get enough of it. He is so, excuse me, Dan, so calm and so in control when he is out on that mound.
So the Yankees are down to their final out, and the batter will be Didi Gregorius. He's 1 for 3. 4-1 Blue Jays. Runner at first. Smoke will play off the bag well behind the runner as Gregorius sends it foul down the left field line.
You know, you talk about closers and they've got a trick pitch or great velocity, or they have the ability to throw a splitter or something. Osuna can throw a great fastball at 98, 99, a wicked slider, and a changeup. We've got 3 great pitches.
Runner goes. Pitch is taken low, and Headley will take second on defensive indifference.
You know, and he's smart with it too. I mean, he understands the game of baseball, and he understands strengths and weaknesses. He'll try different things. He's not afraid to try a slider in this situation. He's not afraid to try and use a fastball on the outside or the inside part of the plate.
The 1-1. Fastball lifted in the air to left center field. This should do it. Pilar will make the catch, and the Blue Jays win it. 33,000 plus go home happy tonight. What a night for Darwin Barney. A huge 2-run single, a great catch down the right field line. Justin Smoke with a solo home run early in the game. Kevin Pilar, another ridiculous Pilar catch. Biagini the win, Chavez in the 8th, and Osuna the save, his 12th of the season, as the Blue Jays make it 2 in a row over the Yankees.
And moved to 2 games over 500, and 4 series in a row they've won now, and that's how you get back into a pennant race. But this was a clean ball game in every aspect of the game. Starting pitching, defense, clutch hitting, and great relief pitching.
Yeah, and showing that this team is starting to round into form. They knew they were going to be in tough against CC Sabathia. He pitched a heck of a ball game, but the Blue Jays came up with some clutch hits late, and then Osuna closed the door.
They'll go for the sweep tomorrow night. We'll have it for you at 7 Eastern on Sportsnet. But right now, it is time for Sportsnet Central. Let's send you back to the studio with Ken and Yvonne.